All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. How are you guys doing? Welcome. Greetings. I don't know what I'm going to do. I feel like I'll do this with my collar. All right, there we go. Yeah, good to see you all. We're back. We're here. We're live. Thanks for hanging out with me every single day. Pretty much every single day on the interwebs. We're live on Rockfin. Rockfinners, how are you? Good to see you. And live on YouTube. YouTubers, of course. Lightning Rod, I'm jacked. I'm on coffee right now. Yes. I'm always jacked. I'm always on coffee. It's a reference to Half Baked. John Stewart, have you ever looked at the moon on weed? Okay. Anyways. Good to see you. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? No. Actually, the purpose of the reason for the title, there's so much to talk about. That's why I ask these questions. What are we talking about? Because there is so much happening. It's hard to keep track. It's hard to keep it all in place. But anyways, apparently pro-Moscow Putin puppet type voices are concerned about the Ohio train disaster. You know, if anybody's concerned about, war or inflation or ecological destruction if you're concerned pretty much about anything that the people in charge are doing to you or not doing as far as like handling business, if you're concerned, if you have any concerns, you are a Putin puppet. Okay? Just so you know. And then the ultimate Jedi mind trick is mouthing words or writing words like this that, there's a rise in fascist movements all over the world. Well, they're called the governments in charge. Those are the fascist movements all over the world. Right? Trump is a fascist. Biden is a fascist. I don't know if we call Putin a fascist. I mean, sure, why not? They're all fascists. So it's like, the silliest thing ever is people saying, oh, well, this global unrest is leading to fascism. No, there's already fascism. The unrest is about the fascism. You understand? People are disenchanted, disillusioned, disenfranchised, discombobulated. I don't know. Anybody want to add? People are pissed off about the mess we're in. And most of the mess we're in is because of fascism, right? But if you're upset about it, well, then you're part of the growing fascist movements of the world. No, the fascist movements are the ones that are screwing us, left and right. Those are the fascist movements, the people that are already in charge. So no, the people that are against it, protesting it, out in the streets marching in France, out in the streets marching wherever they might be, are against it. They are anti-fascist or just anti, control mechanisms, authority, anti-corruption. Anyways, this is completely ridiculous. Pro-Moscow voices tried to steer Ohio train disaster debate. Really, did they? Pro-Moscow? Do you think Moscow gives a crap what's happening in Ohio? I mean, maybe, but who cares? People that live in Ohio, people that live in the U.S. Soon after a train derailed and spilled toxic chemicals in Ohio last month, anonymous pro-Russian accounts started spreading misleading claims and anti-American propaganda about it on Twitter, using what? Elon Musk's new verification system to expand their reach, because it's evil. Because Elon Musk and the free speechers they're evil with the free speech. It's dangerous to our democracy. People saying stuff about stuff is dangerous to our democracy. But people eat this stuff up, though. They eat this up. This is can you ever take AP seriously again after something like this? Associated Press. Out there spreading CIA talking points. Good for you. Good for you, Associated Press. Awesome. Awesome job. The Fourth Estate and all that. Listen to this. The accounts, which parroted Kremlin talking points, because the Kremlin spent time developing talking points about the Ohio train derailment. Clearly more time than the NTSB spent, regulating the train lines, right? More time than Southern Pacific or whatever it's called, Norfolk Southern. More time than they spent actually checking their trains for defects and faults. Apparently, the Kremlin spent a whole lot of time on talking points. But they expect you to believe this kind of stuff. And I don't know. I don't know if people actually believe this kind of stuff. I hope that they don't, and I don't think that they do generally, but just letting you know. If you're reading this kind of stuff, just know that this is just the most ridiculous, They parroted Kremlin talking points on myriad topics, claimed without evidence that authorities in Ohio were lying about the true impact of the chemical spill. Oh, but they were, authorities in Ohio were arresting reporters for actually reporting on the chemical spill. So, I mean, clearly the reporter was a pro. Oh, he worked for CNN? Oh. Okay. The news is full of fake, ridiculous propaganda. Just in case you didn't know that, I'm just clearing that up for you. And nobody believes, a lot of people are disgusted with this. This is disgusting. This article is disgusting. So, join the rising fascist movement today and oppose your government, or oppose what they're doing, or oppose the fascism that exists already, I guess. I don't know. No, if you oppose this kind of stuff, you're actually, pro people. Oh, they were trying to tell you that if you're a populist, that somehow you're a fascist. No, populism is not fascism, okay? It could be, I guess, depending on where you're coming from. But they did that, and people actually ate that one up. They ate that like a little tasty cookie. No, populism is not fascism. Populism is populism. Could be progressive populism. Could be, it's appealing to the people. What do the people want? Oh, it's usually not it's usually not fascism. Usually what people want is not fascism. That's the thing. When you ask people what they want, healthcare, fascism. What do we want to get out of wars? Fascism. No, that's not fascism. That's the opposite of fascism. It's the opposite of fascism. What people want is the opposite of fascism, but you're trying to tell people that if you're a populist, that you're a fascist. Okay. Let me get this straight. Populism equals fat. Oh, okay. Got it. Now, apparently, some people actually, will run down the field with this kind of stuff if given the chance, but whatever. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Listen to this. Biden offers food, water, medicine, shelter, payouts of pension, and social services to Ukraine. Ohio first. Offer and deliver to Ohio. Posted one of the pro-Moscow accounts. Listen, that's actually what he's doing, and that's actually a legitimate concern, and that's not a pro-Moscow account, okay? I'm sorry. That's not. Anyways, I'm not going to spend any more time on this, but I just wanted to point out that this is, stupid. Just plain stupid. And if you believe the news, oh, watch out, here comes the fascism. If don't, just stop it. The fascism is already here. The people are not happy with the fascism. They'd like the fascism to go away. That's the reality, okay? And the fascism is trying to tell you, if you oppose us, you're fascist, right? That's the Jedi mind tricks. But and some people super influenced by that kind of stuff. Anyways, would you believe? Oh, what's it? I saw Caitlin Johnson posted something funny about Australia receiving nuclear submarines so they can protect the trade routes. The trade routes they have with China. They want to protect themselves from China. It's kind of like that. It's like, what? Anyways, in environmental destruction, the land of environmental destruction, nature is dying from climate change. Australian river catastrophe, millions of dead fish. As far as I can see, the situation was likely caused by this summer's extraordinary heat wave, coupled with incredible growth of blue-green algae in rivers. How many times have we seen? This is not just this year. That's a lot of dead fish. There is an Australian heat wave going on. But how many of these? Oh, how many of these massive, fish kills have we seen over the last few years? A lot of them. It's not just this year. I believe it was last year, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before that. It's believed the deaths were triggered after high levels of organic material entered the water, depleting oxygen and triggering a black water event. The situation was likely caused by the summer's extraordinary heat wave, coupled with incredible growth of blue-green algae in rivers. So that's one of the effects of, heat waves and stuff, and destroying and polluting the environment. But that's just it's probably a pro-Moscow talking point. Historic heat wave in Australia from extreme temperatures around the world. Dozens of stations had their hottest March day on record. New South Wales, brutal 43.8 C at Wilcannia, and Whitecliff 43.5 C at Ivanhoe, 43.2 C at Smithville. So yeah, they're getting it. Oh, sorry. Man, speaking of which, Andre says, I'm gearing up for a boiling hot summer here in the Northwest. It's crazy because it's been really fairly chilly here, and we're getting another two rain systems this week. But yesterday, let me tell you, it was wild. Out of nowhere, it was really super hot. I mean, my temperature app, my phone app said 75 degrees, and I was like, it's hotter than the 75. It was like all of a sudden 80 degrees out of, the high was supposed to be like 60, and it just like the sun came out for just a moment yesterday or the morning, and wham, it was like 80 degrees. It was incredibly warm, all out of nowhere. And so to feel that in the middle of, kind of a long, wet, cold winter in Southern California, not that Southern California is not, that's not unheard of. On any given day, it can get really warm here. It kind of happens. But it didn't bode very well in my mind for the summer, because as soon as these clouds go away, as soon as these storm systems go away, as soon as the temperature, the sun comes out just a little, oh man, the way the sun heats up everything now these days so quickly, it's going to be, I fear that it's going to be brutally hot this summer. Yes. I have the same fear. Radiation is intense. Yes. Lightning Rod says that's the difference between air temperature heat and radiated heat from the sun, energy from the sun. People do not understand what is going to happen. Yeah, I mean yeah, and then one lady I overheard yesterday was like, "What is going on with the weather? It's cold, it's hot." I mean, it was hot, like hot, like almost uncomfortably hot for a moment yesterday. And then wham, we're already back into like chilly winterness. But we'll see. We'll see how the summer goes. More heat waves in Australia. I'm going to try and move a little more quickly today, because I have a lot to cover. Western Australia is so hot it's catching fire. Check out those brutal wet bulb temperatures. Hotter days ahead as well. Over 100 Fahrenheit all week. This is the same area that had massive flooding this past December. Anyways, that's also going on. Sorry, I didn't show that to you. I mean, you're just looking at a lot of red. In Argentina, inflation has crossed 100%, which is actually, I don't know if we're at 100% inflation here. We'd never admit it, right? The people in charge would never admit it's 100% inflation, but we're probably in the 50, 60, 70% inflation range since 2 years ago, easily. But they'll never tell you that. Argentina's inflation crosses 100% as people pay double for food amidst historic drought. That's funny. I'm paying double for a lot of things that were I bought 2 years ago that are double now. That's funny. It's only in Argentina apparently. Argentina's inflation is aggravated by an unprecedented drought and lowest rainfall in 35 years, hitting agricultural produce in the country battered by a heat wave. Well, so she's Doomer Girl is saying that there's a threat, an inflation multiplier, which is heat waves and food shortages. But it's also Venezuela is also seeing all over the globe. People are experiencing economic difficulties. And I don't, obviously, I don't imagine that issues with the growing season will will help that. Or weather extremes, weather whiplash. I don't think that's going to help anything. Did you guys hear about the Biden family getting money from China? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I meant to talk about it yesterday. Cyclone in Peru causes major flooding, at least 6 dead. The government has declared a state of emergency as it seeks to bring relief to regions of Peru hit hard by a cyclone known as Yaku. That's interesting. A lot of cyclones happening. Deadly, massive cyclones. New Zealand, Mozambique, Malawi, Peru. I wonder what's going on. Can anybody tell me? I'm confused. Anyways, there's a lot of like I'm gonna have to go back to yesterday. Let me go back to this story. I think there's a lot of evidence that to go back to the people in charge yelling about the people having a problem with the people in charge. Anyways, in CNN, even CNN is reporting on there has been some documents released in Congress indicating that the Biden family received $1 million indirectly from a Chinese company. Have you guys heard about this story? The shocking news was released on Thursday from a House Oversight Committee. Documents released by the House Oversight Committee also revealed Hallie Biden, widow of Beau Biden, got in on the China cash the family was making. And there isn't a gigantic, headlines all over the news, hearings every single day for 3 years about the Biden family accepting. Nobody's talking about Biden for impeachment or something. CNN actually reported on the House Oversight's memo revealing Biden received $1 million after China wired a Biden family associate $3 million. 3 Biden family members in 2017 received over $1 million indirectly from a Shanghai-based company after a Biden associate received a $3 million wire from the same company, then transferred a third of those funds to various Biden family bank accounts. Weird. This is being reported on CNN, by the way.
In a new memo, Republicans in the House Oversight Committee say 3 Biden family members in 2017 received over $1 million indirectly from a Shanghai-based company, State Energy HK Limited. The money came after Biden associate John Robinson Walker received a $3 million wire from the same company, a transaction that was first publicized by Senate Republicans in 2020. Walker then transferred a third of those funds to various Biden family bank accounts over a 3-month period. The new information uncovered by the House GOP, $35,000 in payments to Hallie Biden, Beau Biden's widow, $25,000 of which was linked to the Chinese energy company. Republicans also targeting the president's brother James and his son Hunter, and also say they are probing an account linked to an unknown Biden. The memo did not
an unknown Biden. I wonder who that is. Could it be the big guy? Don't forget the 10% for the big guy. Here's more from CNN. Biden associate. This is CNN.
On a certain level, just as a layperson, you hear this, and it does sound good. There's a guy whose name is John Robinson Walker. He gets $3 million from a Chinese-based company and proceeds to wire it out to a bunch of people named Biden, one of whom is Hunter Biden. Another one is a company that belongs to the president's brother, James Biden, and another amount of money to Beau Biden's widow, Hallie. So, again, from a layperson, that doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't. So it's interesting that, even CNN is covering this. Did you also hear that Hunter Biden sued the repair shop that apparently handed his laptop over to the FBI or whatever, thus confirming that actually that wasn't Russian disinformation. He actually did take the laptop to the right. He actually confirmed that the laptop was his and it was there by suing the repair shop for right. That's smart. That's totally smart. Let's go with other more silly news. Last year, did you all know this? That Hillary Clinton, she funded the Steele dossier that was supposed was the one of the key pieces supposedly of evidence against Trump. She funded it, and she settled a campaign finance violation over reporting the Steele dossier funding as legal services. She didn't go to jail, of course. She wasn't brought up, in Congress for testimony. Anyways. But they, this is opposition research. This is something that, most political parties do, but they paid for the Steele dossier, which was later proven bunk. And she got fined, they were fined over it. And she settled it. I think, indicating complicity, right? Oops. Lost that one. I was just going back to the story a little bit. Let's see. Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign and the Democratic National Committee have agreed to pay $113,000 to settle a federal election commission investigation into whether they violated campaign finance law by misreporting spending on research that eventually became the infamous Steele dossier. Anyways, let's keep going. You know how the ICC has issued a warrant for Putin based on... Actually, it's interesting. Hold on one second. The charges about these war crimes are over like kidnapping children. However, it seems like they were rescuing children from like a war area. So that seems strange. Alleged deportation of Ukrainian children. That's what this is over. However, they were saying that they were moving the children out of harm's way. So that's like, okay. They were moving them from Donbass, the Donbass, which is being shelled by Ukraine. So, part of the reason Russia went in to Ukraine was to protect the people of the Donbass, which are Russian-speaking, Russian-aligned people who are being shelled by the Ukrainian, right? So they went in there, apparently, and took, these children out of harm's way, and then now this was the basis or the premise for the issuing of the warrant for Putin for war crimes for moving children out of harm's way. That seems bizarre. They're saying, though, some of the children have ended up thousands of miles and several time zones away from Ukraine. They've been sent to live in institutions and with foster families in 19 different... I mean, I don't know if that's great, but, what would be... let me see. A Russian spokeswoman said dismissed the ICC's arrest warrant against her, saying it was great that the international community appreciated her work for children, according to the Russian state news agency TASS on Friday. It's great that the international community has appreciated the work to help the children of our country, that we do not leave them in war zones, that we take them out, that we create good conditions for them, that we surround them with loving, caring people. That's bizarre, right? I mean, we don't know the specifics of the story. We don't know everything about this. All right, Poppy Davis got a super chat. Thank you. Says it's working on this end. I hope that means the sound or everything else. All right. Oh, Poppy, before we get out of here, I will play that clip of Jon Stewart, which is very funny. But isn't that's somewhat crazy? I don't know. You could say we don't know the specifics of the case, but what they're saying is that they took children out of a war zone, out of an area where people were being shelled by the Ukrainian government. Russia took children out to try to put them in a safer place, and they've been charged with a war crime. Okay. Interesting. I mean, I'm taking that news story just kind of at face value, right? I don't know all the particulars of it, but let's look at some of the hypocrisy going on around this. We talked about it yesterday a little bit. The United States threatened Monday to arrest and sanction judges and other officials of the International Criminal Court. Why? Because they were contemplating charging any American who served in Afghanistan with war crimes. Oh, it's okay for Putin, but not for us. Oh, this is in 2018. The United States threatened Monday to arrest and sanction judges. Remember that they blocked information or providing information against Putin for war crimes to the ICC regarding this arrest warrant. What is going on? Yes, we're going to talk about that, Judy. One of the judges got his brother released even though he was a pedophile. Yes, we're going to talk about that story specifically. So, what is going on? John Bolton called the Hague-based rights body unaccountable and outright dangerous to the United States, Israel, and other allies. Because they might actually hold us accountable for the things that we're doing. Oh, my God. If the court comes after us, Israel, or other U.S. allies, we will not sit quietly, Bolton said. He said the U.S. was prepared to slap financial sanctions and criminal charges on officials of the court if they proceed against any Americans. Well, so you can see how ridiculous this body is. And you can see the story of, a warrant being issued for Putin is now, in the light of these facts surrounding the case and other cases, you can see that it's fairly ridiculous. And, completely politically motivated, right? I mean, there's a lot of hypocrisy going on. Yes, Judy. It seems like way too much kabuki theater, indeed. Well, let's look at this other story about one of the International Criminal Court prosecutor, who was such a fine, morally upstanding person. International Criminal Court prosecutor Karim Khan, who charged Putin with war crimes for evacuating children from a war zone, which it seems like that's what they were doing. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't, but they were saying they were getting them out of harm's way. Sounds legit. Apparently that's a war crime. I don't know. Evacuating children from a war zone had his convicted pedophile brother Imran Khan released from a UK prison on a reduced sentence 1 month ago. Imran Khan, who was a Yorkshire MP, was jailed for 18 months in May 2022 after being convicted of sexual assault following a trial at Southwark Crown Court. Jurors heard how Khan had sexually assaulted a teenage boy after a party in 2008. The boy came forward just days after Khan won his seat in Wakefield in December 2019 general election. He was expelled from the Conservative Party and resigned. Anyways, he has been released. Khan has now been released with pictures reportedly showing him leaving HMP Brixton on the morning of February 21. He served 9 months of his 18-month sentence in custody. So a convicted pedophile is released after 9 months. And yet, Julian Assange still a political prisoner in jail in the UK. His crime being, telling the truth about war crimes the U.S. committed. Oh, I see how it goes. Wild. Wild stuff. Hold on. Let me read this. I'm going to read a comment from Colin. I don't know. Are you still here, IB Racer? Oh, I see. This is a guy that pops in and out. He pops in once in a while. I don't know if he's still here. You were describing the same technique that you use whenever someone here questions your generalized repetitions of climate change scares. It's not generalized. That's funny. It's not generalized at all. I talk about climate change every single day with specific scientific, hypothesis, I guess, behind it. Definitely data and evidence behind it. So it's not generalized on any level. You basically just say that anyone questioning the CC narrative is wrong and stupid because science and okay. Osama says he's not here. He went back under his rock. The thing is okay. This person left, so whatever. Not just because science. Well, just let me reply to that. It's not just because science. And I don't really support people just saying, I think that people should be willing to debate and contest climate change and its reality to people, and not just slam people because it's just science. That's actually not what I do. But what I do say is that it's data and evidence. So, and there's plenty of data and evidence to support that. I don't know. Explain why all the glaciers are melting. Explain why the rivers of the world are all running low in the same year. Explain why we break temperature records every single year. Just explain all those things to me. Using like data and evidence. And then I have a totally open mind. Look, I don't want climate change to be real. I would really rather that it not be real. So prove to me that it's wrong, and I'll be happy as you are about it. But we have extreme weather events happening, all the time. We have seasons out of whack, growing seasons out of whack. We have, crops failing and struggling because they don't know what season it is anymore. And it gets way too hot and then way too cold, confusing not just the crops, but the animals and the birds that are part of the ecosystem. And what you get is problems. You get big problems. And we're still experiencing normalcy, and that's how it's possible for you to have questions around this. And that's fine. You can have questions all you want. But when it gets to the point where we don't have normalcy anymore due to these extreme weather events, or, it's extremely super, super hot, or, everybody's been flooded out of their houses or are burned out of their houses, or whatever the calamity might be. And when we get to that point, I hope that you come to an understanding or a realization that we are here now. That's all. So it's fine to question science. I encourage it, but don't question it based on false premises, right? That's not science. Science relies on data and evidence. So if you have, and there's an easy way to counter a false claim, scientifically false claim, and that's called data and evidence. If you have enough data and evidence lined up on your side of the argument, so much so that it overwhelms, the science-y thing that's put out there, well then, exactly, Scott Andrews, explain why trees are dying. Explain why all the rivers are drying up. Explain why it's hotter than ever, pretty much all around the world, right? We keep breaking temperature records all the time. I don't know. It couldn't possibly be global warming. It can't possibly be that. It can't possibly be global warming, right? No. I just, it's just unfortunate that climate change got lumped into being a lie. One of the many lies that the people in charge or people in power try to promote. And here's the thing. They actually promote a lie about climate change. Here's the lie they promote about climate change. Even though climate change is real, they promote the lie that, it's pretty bad. If we all just buy electric cars and, get ourselves some energy efficient stoves and refrigerators, well, we'll fix it. We got time. It's not overpopulation. It's something else. Right? If only we can get some more funding for some wind power and some, whatever it might be, some more dams built. Whatever, their understanding or their promotion of climate change is only based on continuing industrial civilization as we know it and continuing a consumer cycle, right? They only understand it enough so that they can promote people making money on the issue of climate change. But that doesn't mean it's not real. What they're lying about, the actual conspiracy one more time for the people in the back is not that climate change isn't real. It's that it's way worse than they're willing to let you know. They don't want to let you know this. There were no news stories about China heat waves here. Nobody was talking about the heat wave in China in March. Zero. Why would that be? If climate change was truly something that they made up and they wanted to promote and they really wanted to scare you about it, why would they miss an entire news story about how China was on fire in March? And on fire temperature wise is what I mean. Anyways, actually, hold on. I have something before I go. Somebody did send me something about China. Again, there were climate scientists saying, "Hey, man, it is off the charts hot in China, like crazy hot, like 20 C, temperature anomalies." Or whatever it was. It was very warm. I don't know if that was a real number, but it was very warm. This is from March 10th. Many parts of China have been hit by unusually warm temperatures in March, with the mercury in several cities climbing to a record seasonal highs on Thursday, as scientists warn of more frequent occurrences of extreme weather this year due to global climate change. 6 cities, including Shijiazhuang, Jinan, Beijing, Tianjin, Shenyang, and Changshan, saw their temperatures hitting a record high for early March on Friday. A record high, a record high, a record high, according to China. I'm just saying. Sir, saying, or whatever your name is, Lawrence, I think was your handle. Here's more evidence that, we're experiencing a lot of heat. I wonder what it could be. And here was kind of a big news story in climate circles, but did you read about it or hear about it anywhere else? No. If they really wanted to, pump this at you, no, actually they just pick and choose. And they actually want to ignore it. They actually want to ignore it. They want to ignore it because they prefer things going on as they are. And they don't really want to scare people about how bad it is, because that actually might put an end to the good times. The good time consumerist cycle that everybody's on. The unseasonal warm temperatures come after China's worst heat wave since 1961, last summer, with 267 weather stations measuring temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius in March. 40 degrees Celsius. That's extremely warm. The blistering heat wave triggered a myriad of disastrous events, ranging from wildfires and power crunches to agricultural disruptions. Holy shit. I mean, this is just like 2 weeks ago. A week ago. Did you hear anything about this? No, you didn't. This isn't generalized, IB Racer. This is specific. I'm specifically talking about a heat event to pile on all the other heat events. The massive, mountainous, huge amount of data and evidence behind the fact that something is different on the planet. Something is much, much different. And most of it has to do with what? Heat. Why are we getting more rainfall in California? Heat. Atmospheric rivers are caused by what? Evaporation from the oceans. There's a lot of water vapor in the atmosphere, and it has to be released. That is also causing major floods all over the world. Huge, the longest cyclonic event ever, just recorded just now. In the last 2 weeks, we had the longest living cyclone, like ever recorded. I don't know. You want some more evidence? Because these are pretty specific things I'm talking about. This is not generalized on any level. I'm specifically talking about events and tying them to other events. That's specific. Just, whatever. But wave it all away at your peril. Go for it. Have fun with that. So it was like 10 degrees Celsius higher than usual, which is pretty good. 10 degrees Celsius anomaly is pretty good. Anyways. I mean, I'm all for questioning science, but try to question science with science. Always question science with science, or the scientific method. Always do that. Go for it. I mean, I support questioning science with science, or questioning science, but you can't just question science like, I don't know, I don't think so. That's not scientific. Nah. No, you got to bring some other data and evidence to the table. Oh, it just sounds like some hoopity whoop. No, that's not scientific. That's not how you question science. Anyways, who was Kevin talking to? Oh, Judy Truitt. I was talking to somebody on Colin who left a comment about how I'm just generalizing about climate change. I just say general things about climate change. Anyways, that's cool. Hopefully that person listens to the rest of the show. A good way to support the channel is buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews. Or Rockfin tips are also good. I think I did get actually some tips on. I got a few tips on Rockfin. Osama, big ups. Hoping to get the tip ball a-rolling. Poppy Davis, thanks for the tip. Basil says I'm in. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. You can also support me on Venmo and Cash App. Those are, whoops. Didn't mean to, wasn't trying to end the show early here on Rockfin. What was I saying? You can support me on Venmo and Cash App. Also, those links are in the description box of all the platforms that I'm on. Let me see. Hold on. Somebody's saying, equally saying, I assert this is true because science. Go look up the science for yourself. No, I'm not saying go look up the science for yourself. I said I'm just giving you the science. It's no better than what you just complained about. I don't understand. I don't know. I didn't really get that one. Data and evidence, right? So data. Let's go back to data and evidence. I'm going to end the show. Yes. Thanks for reminding me, Poppy. I appreciate you. We'll play this. Well, I'm gonna turn it around on you because, people think that, if you believe in climate change, that you just support the narrative, of everything else science. Not necessarily so. Why? Because data and evidence. There's evidence that COVID might have been leaked from a lab. Why? Because there's evidence, not just because I said so. Because people with scientific backgrounds, very, very smart people, said, hey, this looks to be so. Right? And enough of those people said it that, people are like, well, geez, these people that were very smart and have science and data and evidence, right, to prove the things they're talking about, have countered this narrative that didn't actually have a lot of data and evidence behind it, right? Do you understand? I don't know who I'm talking to necessarily because these people come in, leave comments, and then leave. I'm out of here. Okay, all right. That's because that's also good. Where are we? Where is it? No, somewhere in here. There is not enough data and evidence on your side if you are, denying that climate change is happening or something is happening, right? And that's a lot of, people who are trying to go the science route to denying climate change are like, well, yeah, it's getting warmer, but that's not going to be so bad. Right? Like stuff like that. Oh, well, yeah, something's different, but it's really not that bad. Okay. Well, before you were saying that it wasn't happening at all. It was totally a lie. What changed? Sorry, Poppy. It's in here somewhere. I know it. I'll find it. I thought I had it just queued up. Oh no, where did it go? Let's see. Shoot. I didn't think this was going to be as big of an issue to find it. You did send this to me on Twitter, right? Where did you send this to me, Poppy? Or maybe you sent it to me on Facebook. Is that why I can't find it? Arg. Oh dear. Poppy, I can't find it. I'm spending a long time looking for it. Anyways, well, I swear to God, you sent it to me on Twitter, so it should just be like on my Twitter feed. But I'm gonna spend like 30 more seconds looking for it. What was I saying? What was I thinking? I was thinking about the fact that let's see. Oh, now I lost it. Okay. Oh dang, Poppy, I can't find it. All right. I can't spend any more time. I'll look for it later, and I'm going to have to play it tomorrow because sorry about that. I had it and now it's gone. It disappeared. Maybe it disappeared. Maybe that's what happened to it. I don't know. All right, guys. Thanks so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. Thanks for hanging out with me every single day on the interwebs. Appreciate the support, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll read this from Osama. Science advances by questioning and incorporating new facts as they appear. Those who cling to old explanations and narratives in light of new information are not partaking in scientific endeavor. They are adherents to cherished or profitable beliefs. Right. And you really, you really got to question whether you're repeating something that is accepted in your thought silo or not. and this is one of my favorite things about doing this channel is because I get to just piss everybody off. Right? Because all the climate change, or not all, but a lot of climate change people support the accepted narrative on pretty much everything else. And I do not. I do not. I do not. I do not at all. I question the narrative pretty much at every point. And actually, the reason why I'm covering climate change is because I question the narrative about climate change, right? Again, they're giving you a saccharine, sugarified, sweetened version of climate change that makes it seem like, well, if we just do some more windmills, then we'll get out of this. If everybody would just buy a Tesla, then we'll fix climate change, and that's not true. I'm questioning that narrative because that's not true. What they know about climate change is that it is the biggest of all tidal waves heading for pretty much everybody in the near future. They know that, and they're keeping that from you because if they let that out of the bag, then people would be really upset about that, wouldn't they? Okay. That's it. Thank you, guys. I'll see you all tomorrow. Until next time, peace.